Hey, what's up, everybody? This is, I guess, special edition, or as some people like to call it, what's in the box. People like to call it that. I don't personally like to call it that. I just got this big package. Was not expecting a big package at all. Obviously, this is Chris's project. For those who don't know, Chris does Welcome to Slaughterville. This is the director's cut. He has a book that is also Welcome to Slaughterville, Volume 2. Or issue 2, and that, I guess, I don't know how you label your things, if it's issue 2 or volume 2, or if it's number 2.
Right.
But that has 4 days left. It's a graphic novel. The link is in the description, and yeah, I'm just gonna unbox this and open it up and see what happens, and hopefully there's a lot of beehive in there, and a bunch of bees are gonna, pop out, or I'm gonna hear a tick 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 tick, because that would not be good. That would not be good, but. Yeah, what is Slaughterville, for those who are unfamiliar with it, as I'm unboxing this and cutting it open? Practicing safe habits, everybody, safe habits. We cut away from the body, My body's here, we're cutting this way. Continue.
Slaughterville started back in 2013. And it's a board game where I decided I wanted every other board game in the same box. So what we did was we created this town that you're going to build dynamically, and you'll go up against one of our many different villains. Now we have 21 different villains now, and about 18 or so locations. And what it allows you to do is to play different types of games. For instance, in the one you're opening now, there's one called the Zombie Horde. And the Zombie Horde is a dexterity game where you're actually going to be flicking a bullet disc to shoot into a crosshairs, almost target, like shuffleboard-like thing. And you'll be trying to do that to kill zombies, to see how well you can shoot under the pressure. So, I mean, and then there's the slasher who just tries to kill you, which the slasher is the basis for book 2 of Slaughterville, which does come with promo cards for the game. So if you want all the cards, that's where we have a new set coming in. And Mr. Andrew, I have metal cards, right?
I'm here. I am just making a lot of noise. That's why I'm on mute, but I'm still here. And I know you have metal cards, but I'm about to make a lot of noise. And I do not want to pierce everybody's ears. Nice. So continue, please.
Okay. And in this game, you're going to take one of the different horror stereotype roles, like the hottie, the bad boy, the goth chick, the final girl, among many, many, many others. 72 different characters we have in this game. And you'll take it and you'll go through your town that you've built from our different locations as you fight against the different villains. The basic actions are going to be the same all the time. It's either you move or you encounter. What modifies the main game is the villains. The villains bring their own unique rule set. I told you it was heavy. It brings its own unique rule set, and they change the way the game is played. In fact, in Slaughterville 3, we just added it where you're the bad guy.
1 reputation, 2 reputation, 3 reps.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get a workout there.
I'm trying to figure out how to open it, everybody. This is not my skill set. If there's a TikTok out there, this is it, guys. I'm telling you, this is Andrew figuring out how to open up a board game is the TikTok. But yeah, continue, please, because it looks good. I'm going to let everybody know, if it's packed like this, though, half the fun is opening it, right?
Yep.
It's like going to escalator land, right?
Yeah, there's not much room around it because that box does fill it. It is a big box. And it does hold all of our other games, like Slaughterville 2 and 3 will fit in there. That's the way I designed it. And that's the way we wanted it. It has card dividers. It has all the dice, the standees. We have pawns, like the little wooden pawns. But I also decided to include standees in this one for you, for each character and villain. So 72 character standees, 21 villain standees, all kinds of good stuff.
We did it. We opened it, guys. We opened it.
No, we did it. Oh my God. You. Anybody want one? We gotta just, no free kitty. All right. Yeah, that's. I mean, if you compare it to the other box, remember the Slaughterville 2 one? They are quite a bit different in size.
Yeah, so let's even talk about this because technically, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know that the graphic novel is right now up for Kickstarter. And I think that's what you're mainly focusing on in the short term, at the very least.
Right.
Because I just think that sometimes one project takes front and center, and then the other one takes a few weeks off or a month off. And I know this is now, I think, in pre-order / development / fulfillment for all the people who backed it. But I don't know if people could still pre-order this or what exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We have laughingrogue.com. We just finalized the site where we added the director's cut to our store. Or you can message me directly, chris@laughingrogue.com. And we'll make sure you get a copy. They are shipping out to backers right now, obviously, because I sent one to you and I sent one, I have a couple of copies for myself. But yeah, and some for when we go to conventions finally. But yep, it is available. It's there for pre-order, and it's this one and Slaughterville 2 are both standalone. So you can get them by themselves or you can combine them. Everything works together.
And I will say it is a pretty heavy game. I'm not gonna just start opening it up and then opening up the plastic and show the inside of it yet. Unless you want me to. I mean, if you want me to, I'll just start opening it up and I'll show what it looks like.
Hey, always leave them wanting more, right? The more we can. Pops, I don't know what you're talking about. It has to be there because they told me that it would arrive on Tuesday. If that's what FedEx said. So I promise you I'll check as soon as I get off.
They didn't say what Tuesday. That's the kicker. Yeah. They just said a Tuesday. They didn't say a Tuesday. A particular Tuesday.
So yeah, I did. I just checked on his yesterday. In fact, I will check on it right now while we're here. They lied. Hold on. I promise you, I'm checking on it right now, boss. Let me go in here.
But even to go further into this, because it's a pretty heavy game, guys. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's a good, what, like 6 pounds? I think is a fair assumption.
Oh, it actually comes out to 11.1 pounds.
So it's almost as heavy as the Lego Bugatti is and my Lego Sian.
Nice.
So the Lego Bugatti was 13 pounds in box. The Sian, I think, is around there too. And then when it's built, the Lego Bugatti is about 11 pounds of just Lego. And it's pretty cool. Yeah, we're unboxing it. It's pretty cool. It's this director's cut. It's really heavy. But one of the things that's nice about this is that you have the back that's nice right there. And it comes in a really big box, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a pretty big box. But there's some other stuff cool too. Yeah, I can't speak today. It's been that type of day. That clearly I'm incoherent. But yeah, I mean, it's huge, dude. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? We're producing something like this. Seriously,
Yeah, like I said, I wanted everything from every Slaughterville to fit in there, and in order to do that, and in fact, they tried to get me at the manufacturer to make the box smaller and stack the cards vertically instead of horizontally. And I'm like, no, I want them to be able to flip through card dividers horizontally and pick out all their cards. But in order to do so, we had to make the box bigger.
Yeah, and then even going further into this, because this is what's currently available out on Kickstarter with you right now. And I was sort of alluding to it as well, where obviously this is volume 1, so you can still pick up volume 1, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can pick up this cover, but
not
I know
that cover.
So, but you can pick up the regular cover. Also, you can get it digitally,
Mm-hmm.
and if you just want to read it digitally and you want to have a catch-up tier, it's very, very easily. I actually put the link up in the description above. So if you like this box, you like what we're talking about, I think there's some way that it either is an add-on on your Kickstarter or some version of Slaughterville is on your Kickstarter as well, because this is the graphic novel of it.
Yep.
Again, promo cards are right here, so you can get those, with this, and then there's 2 more promo cards, I believe, as well. And so this is what's getting really interesting, is that you now have the board game. I don't want to say it's the ultimate edition of Slaughterville, but this is kind of going down that path in certain ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty expansive game, and the other thing is that I don't think we mentioned that may or may not seal the fate is that what does this even run? Because that's the thing that people in gaming and board games, they want value
Mm-hmm.
and they want replayability, but they also want replayability at a certain price point, and that's the other thing too. And obviously, you sent me a copy. And so I actually don't know how much this thing costs,
Right.
per se. So, and I'm very upfront about it. But obviously, somebody who wants this or seeing this or wants something. So, what is that? I haven't seen John Knight's name in a while. That's cool. But yeah, what does this even retail at?
The director's cut does come in at 120 retail. Yep. Because it does it has everything from the first game as well as all the expansions. It has all the promo cards from the first game. It's remastered. It has it even has a new extra villain in there, the Contagion. We have a lot of new stuff in this one that wasn't in the first version of it.
So let me ask a stupid question. So let's say that I'm brand new to Slaughterville. I know nothing about it. I'm a board game guy. I'm sick of, Knights Over Camelot. I'm sick of Catan. I'm sick of the island. I'm sick of King of Tokyo's, and all those fun games. And they're great games. Don't think I'm hating on them. And I haven't bought Slaughterville 1, Slaughterville 2. I haven't bought, any other game that you've done. And is this a solve-all for that?
This the director's cut is going to have 12 locations, probably as many villains, a lot of different characters. It's going to have all the standees. It's going to have all the dice you're going to need. This will have everything. Now, if you don't want to spend the 120 right away to get this, you can get Slaughterville 2, which again, there's nothing from Slaughterville 2 in this box. This is all Slaughterville, the original stuff, remastered. So start with Slaughterville 2, get the smaller one, and then if you like it, then go up to the director's cut. Or you can get the director's cut right away and have your storage solution already planned out.
Because that's the other thing too that is very, very helpful that Catan does very well. But I think that you're also hitting on where if you buy a Catan set and you buy the expansion fits into the Catan set. Now, if you start going into more and more expansions, you're going to run out of storage. But the idea is that initially, if you buy just one more expansion to go from 4 to 6 players, the 6-player game fits into the original Catan box. And I think that's something that people don't actually, in my view, because I'm a board game guy and I'm not as extensive as some other people, but this stuff does take up shelf space.
Oh, yeah.
And so anytime somebody can solve a shelf space problem for me, and so if you have Slaughterville 2, you can put it in here. If you have Slaughterville 1, you can put it in here, and you have that problem solved. Now, I don't know if you could put your graphic novel in here, but you might not want to do that anyway.
I was going to say, I don't think that you could technically do that. It'll raise the box lid a little bit, but yeah, I wouldn't. Not me. I wouldn't, but
I wouldn't do it either. I don't believe books belong in boxes. I believe books belong in shelves. That's just me, though. I am a little bit of a book fanatic, and I may or may not have a problem, but we don't have to talk about that. But even going further into this, because obviously people, when they find something they like, people want to spend money, and I mean, it looks good. It looks nice. I mean, one of the things I like is that the top does come off of this. You could see right here that this does lift up. Like, I guess if I was to do this and it wasn't in the seal, this
Yeah.
thing would fall out.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I have left it in the seal, for a good reason. I want it to remain pristine. It's a collector's item. It's so bad, so bad at so many levels. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to play this when
And
things calm down in the world.
I made sure that they made the box a little extra thicker because, again, it's going to have so much in it that I wanted to make sure that it could hold it, you know. And this, I've put everything I have into the one that I have upstairs, and it holds it fine. It doesn't sag, it doesn't bend, it doesn't fall, nothing. It holds it perfectly fine. That was vital for me. If they couldn't do that, I would have been all right. I'll find somebody who can, but they did it.
Yeah, because I think that that's the thing that people don't understand. It's just my opinion is that, storage is a big problem for me right now. I read a lot of stuff digitally. I have a Comixology subscription because I want to read comics, and then I use for my anime Crunchyroll because, again, I am running out of storage. Money isn't the problem anymore. And so when somebody could say, hey, you bought Slaughterville 2, and you like this and you want the director's cut, and now you can put everything in here. And then I don't mean to be mean about this, but you can now throw out the other box.
That's what I did.
It makes room because guess what? I can now put this on my shelf or my closet, and it's one box, and I don't need three. And it also is big enough that it could go at the bottom, of I guess the shelf, or it could go where it needs to go. And I think that's crucial because space is like money. It's like time. You only have a limited amount of it. Time and space to me are very similar. Maybe money's actually an infinite resource, technically. But we're not going to get into that whole philosophy. But space is very, very crucial right now in my world. And so I think it's very, very interesting what you've done because I think you've solved something that people don't think about until they have 30 board games and then they have a newborn baby coming.
Yeah, I have my shelf right here. It goes all the way up over, and everything's full. And all the time I'm thinking to myself, what can I do to condense and it's not to condense to make it look pretty. It's to condense so I can add more games to it. So, I mean.
Well, Chris, we have some news for you, and I kind of lied. This is really an intervention for both of us. That was me. I don't know who that was. If it's anybody important, they'll leave a voicemail. But see, even Maury realizes he needs more space too. Again, Chris, I kind of lied. This is an intervention for both of us. Clearly, we both have problems that are extremely similar yet different. But even going outside of this, and obviously, I'm excited to play this. It's going to be fun. It's also going to solve a problem where I'm going to be throwing out some of your boxes, and it sounds mean, and it's going to break my heart a little bit. I'm going to feel bad about it. I don't like to waste boxes, but at the same time, if I can put everything in here, I got no complaints. But to even go into the Kickstarter a little bit, because right now, what are you at, about 70%?
Somewhere around there. We're getting closer. It's just I figure the last few days will be better for us. But yeah, we're getting pretty close.
And so, what is the basic pitch of that? Because for those who are hearing about this, and obviously they see the board game, but then they realize that you have a graphic novel too, and that it's an expansion. It's also a gateway. It's also a, I guess, another venue to jump into. So what is that like for you?
Okay. With these Slaughterville games, one of my main goals with them was to allow the people to tell their own stories, because I'm a storyteller at heart. That's why I like to write, and I've written books, and everything that we've had published. And aside from graphic novels, I mean novels I've written. And what I wanted with this game is for people to tell their own stories. Well, after since again we made this in 2015, till now, I decided I wanted to tell my story, what I feel is going on behind the town. It just gives a little bit more perspective, and it's just one story out of hundreds of thousands, however many people have played this. And so that's what I'm doing here is I'm telling this story as I see it, as I would have played through a quote unquote campaign. Here's a hint: Slaughterville 2D20 RPG coming next year, officially announced right here. So you'll be able to tell your own stories that way as well. But this one started off with The Beast Within, with book 1, which is the one that you have, right? And then it went from there into the slasher. We already have the cover for the next book coming, The Cannibal Rednecks. And we're going to move on from that to The Ancient Burial Ground, and then Jack the Ripper, and we're going to go on. So we have a lot of plans for a lot of books, a lot more games.
Because one of the things about the graphic novel that I feel, and I've said this before, is that it's more narrative and it's more of your story. So the game can be any which way you want to play. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of rules, regulations, things can be bent, different rules occur. And you as the player have a lot of control in that game. But in the graphic novel, obviously, I mean, as a reader, you know, in comics, you can control how something is spoken about, how these characters are interpreted, their intention to some degree. But it also is your almost gameplay versus sitting in mine. I don't have any control in your graphic novel.
Sure.
I can read it, but it also does influence, per se, or could provide a new perspective. And that's what's really interesting, is that somebody might be playing these games and be like, oh man, I kind of want to hear what the guy who created it. And that's what's fascinating about this in particular, is that if you've been playing the games for a while and now you read the graphic novel, it's going to influence, and it's also just another perspective.
And what I would do, some might call it a cheat, and it probably is. I'm not going to try to deny any of that. But when I was sitting here writing, I was looking at some scenes that I was trying to do, like for the first book, for the second one, and I would pull out those locations. Like the first one takes place heavily in the forest. So I would bring out the forest location, shuffle it up, and I would just overturn the top 3 or 4 cards and see what that story told me. And that's why you have the werewolves, and they run through a section of spider webs to find an old creepy house in the middle of the forest, and all of this stuff. So, I mean, I used the stuff in the game to help influence the book, so you would feel like you still had that connection.
Yeah, and I think it's smart, and I think that it's interesting, and I also think that, you know, it can be very much used as a tool for other people who want to write graphic novels and other things. And I know other people who do this. I just had, you know, a few people on, and they create character sheets like D&D for all their characters, and so it's very interesting in this regard. But I do think that, you know, for people who are seeing this who may not be, like, I'm not such a big game player, where I have a few board games and tabletop games and things of that nature, but it's not 100% my jam, and I'm not like a die-hard guy on it, but I enjoy playing them. And so I'm very much a novice, maybe a step above a novice per se. But I also think that for me, coming into the graphic novel could be an introduction as well. And that's what's interesting about your Kickstarter that's going on. And obviously you're 70% through.
Yeah.
And it's also not that expensive, all things considering. I think, what is it, like $15 for cover A?
Yep. And unlike this is the only place going it through here is where you're going to get those 6 promo cards that we have, because we have 6 promo cards for the game, and in addition to those, we have the metal cards sitting here ready to go out. We're ready to go. All you got to do is get the book. I can't just hand them to you. We got to get you the book first. I mean,
yeah, and then those cards can be integrated into your game, and it's exciting, and it could be a lot of fun, be absolutely wonderful. And so that's something that I think is very, very cool in that regard. Above that and everything that's going on with that, and, you know, obviously it's super interesting. And so even if you don't like the graphic novel, and you just want to up your game, and you love this game, and you want those 6 promo cards. I mean, there are technically other ways you could get it, but this might be the cheapest way for you to get those 6 promo cards. I think you got something that you want to show.
Yep. Yeah, these are the cards themselves. Let me see if I can't get rid of. There we go. And this one here is Miss Laurie herself, talking about the disc from Path of the Pale Rider. And you'll just like all the other promos, you're going to shuffle them into a random location, and then they'll be there for you to encounter. Because as we said, the game is move and encounter, and this will be something you can do. This one's from Sassone. He did an Exorcist piece, and I had to include that one here. He said we could do that. That's from Bushi. I think you had Paul on, didn't you? Twice.
Paul's been technically on, I think, once on the show, and he's been in a comic book hangout, but I don't count my comic book hangouts as a real guest appearance.
Here's Lycan, one from Lycan. So again, shuffle it into the random location, and when you encounter it, you encounter it. And then the last one is Big James, of course, Laurie's other character, the Undead Bear. So if you end up shuffling this one into a random location, you might fight a giant undead bear that you cannot escape from. Is
it unbearable, or is it Randy Orton at a no bear as he on Seth Rollins? I'm sorry, that is the greatest WrestleMania moment ever, where Randy Orton hits an RKO out of nowhere, and then Michael Cole's like, "It's an RKO out of nowhere," but it sounds muffled because it's in a stadium. And it sounds like it's out of nowhere. And then there was a shirt of Randy Orton RKOing a bear.
The bear.
It's the funniest shirt ever, and it's a brilliant shirt. And it's something like WWE. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Sorry. In case anyone didn't know, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I think Randy Orton is like one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, next to Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Vote for Rhino, guys. Vote for Rhino. But yeah, no. What is this like to actually do something cool with these cards? Because I know Paul, obviously I know Laurie. I don't know if I know the others all that well, but even to have other people's Kickstarter stuff in there and have some of their project stuff in there, and it's weird because collaborations are tricky per se, where some people are really into it, some people aren't. And so what is that like too? Because it's good for them, it's probably good for you, and it also is good for relationships.
Right. And again, I only ask people that, I think would be into it. And it really is just, what's nice about the promo part of it is because they're promotional cards, they can be world breaking. Because if you read the world of Slaughterville, it is where all the horror movie stuff can happen. So you have Sherlock Holmes is in the game. Ichabod Crane is in the game. In fact, Sherlock Holmes, since he's in there because it's public domain, isn't actually Sherlock Holmes. It's a moniker that's passed down from person to person who's been trained by this. Anyway, I have a whole dang backstory. That's how crazy I went into this thing.
It's kind of like James Bond.
Yep, I have a whole backstory for the Order of Holmes, and it's insane. I should write that one day. But anyway, but as far as the collaboration goes, yeah, that allows us to show other people that may not be into comics, may not be into things, maybe get them interested in these different creators, maybe bring them into something they might like, or take comic creators into the board game side, It was just pretty cool to work with other people that way.
It's cool where obviously my entire collaboration with DJ Croft, who was a cosplayer, was to bring him into my audience and bring me into his audience. And I technically got the better part of that deal because that guy is a superstar and he's on the rocks. And legitimately, it was the cheapest relationship I ever bought. Because it's going to pay dividends for years to come. And we're going to do something eventually together, whether it's this year or next year. But I think that's the other thing too, is that it builds relationships. And unfortunately, in comics, I think a lot of people do not understand that. In board games, they don't understand how to build relationships. And it's a real skill to be able to build relationships. And also, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's also promotional where these are limited. where you're not going to be running like a 10,000 per run for these cards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If we, it all depends on how many we sell, but we might only make 50 of each, and once they're gone, they're gone. There's nothing we're going to do about it. Now, I do have a set that I know if I'm going to get for a couple of, a couple of people that have always been, real good supporters. So, but we'll try to make as many available as we can. But it all depends on how well we fund.
And also, I mean, you're 70%. You're in the last 4 days. At some point, whether I don't know who you're closing out with, whether that's Pops or whatnot, but
Mhm.
obviously, if you need another show and you want to do the pre-closeout before you get on Pop's show, nothing against you, Pops. I love you too, man. But I'll lead right into your show. It'll be fun. But all jokes aside, obviously, the more that these things get funded, the more money that is thrown into these projects, the more cool shit can get done.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And, I've been saying it for a while. You have to support indie. And supporting indie is not money anymore. Money's part of it. I talk about it with myself too. One of the things that is extremely beneficial is that if you want to come on my show, well, I do need money because everybody needs money to operate. But I also need you to like the interview. I need you to tell your following that you like something. And so I also need you to share it out. I need you to say, hey, you're going to get there. I'm here to support you. I'm here to, tell you that you're doing a great job. All that stuff. Or, hey, I really like X. Or, maybe give a suggestion that's constructive. And so that's the thing that I've been telling a lot of people lately is that sharing out these projects means something because you don't know who's looking at it. And I hate to say it, but social media algorithms are tricky. And if 100 people share something out, the likelihood of a backer coming to that project is much higher than if only 10 people share it out. And so support is not just money anymore. It's also the idea of sharing things out, championing, saying, hey, how's your project going? What do you need? If I mention something, and I've done this for a bunch of other people, is at the start of an interview, I mention a bunch of people's projects sometimes. And I probably do that tonight with yours, with my very interesting interview tonight. She looks good is all I'm going to say. She looks fantastic in bikini, but that's not the point. But I think that's something that's going on. So obviously, I'm just going to encourage everybody who's watching, if you haven't already backed this project, or if money's tight, at least share it out. Put it on your Facebook wall, tweet about it, talk about it, position it, scream from the top of your rooftop. I personally don't care. Any share is good news. There's no such bad thing as bad media. There's only poorly deployed media. That's all I'm going to say.
And again, my thing is too, people underestimate the value of a single dollar bill. You know what I mean? If you get enough people together just doing a dollar a month, then if you're doing a subscription type service, that kind of a thing, a lot of people coming together with even the smallest things can do a lot of good. It's just
it's a very crazy thing where a dollar goes a long way, and I'll throw something out there very, very quickly. I have dividend stocks, and I have stocks that produce me right now. I have enough shares of a company. I'm not going to say what company. It produces me 9 cents a month. But every month, it's going up by 9 cents. So in month one, it's 9 cents. Then the next month, it's 18 cents. Then after that, and all of a sudden, fast forward 20 years, it's not 9 cents anymore. It's more like $1.50 every single. It's actually probably a lot more than that. I used to have the math down, but the idea is that the actual income rises, and it's because. But if you have $1 and then every month you get that dollar, and then you're slowly growing, and you go up to $2 and then $4, and then it's just increasing. It makes a big difference, and a lot of cool projects can operate. And it's also if somebody only needs $1,000. That's the thing too, is that, stuff has come down significantly in production. So again, throwing $1 goes a long way. It goes a long way, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand about this, is that it goes a long, long way to do this. What I wish Kickstarter would do is that I wish they would actually give you a 3-day grace period before they charge you at the end of the campaign. And the reason why I think that would actually be beneficial is that if your campaign ended on a Friday, I think it would give people a little bit of time so their paycheck can drop. So a lot of people do that. And so I think that's something that is just fascinating. But I digress. But what do I know? What do I know, everybody?
Well, no, and again, with Facebook starting their own not fulfillment, I'm lying to you. Oh my God, why is my brain? Their own backer service, similar to their own pledge manager. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. They might get into something like that where they won't charge until the pledge manager closes. That's entirely possible with them anymore. BackerKit, yes, that's the one. Honestly, BackerKit is the one I use. I've used them for every project. They've never had an issue, and they've always had excellent on the customer service side. Not sponsored by anybody because I'm not big enough to get a sponsor, but I'm just telling you who I like.
Well, but we can talk about that too. So I am technically not big enough to get a sponsor, yet I return so much capital to my sponsor over such a low deployment because I have the audience. This is the common myth about sponsorship, is everybody's like, oh, you need a big audience. You actually need the opposite. You need a loyal audience. It doesn't matter how big your audience is. People forget that there are people who are making $100,000 a month and they only have 2,000 fans because they built a subscription model and they return such value that their fans pay them $100, $200, $300 every single month because they're good at their job.
Yeah.
So if I'm to create, I'll throw out a business really quickly. If I'm to create a drop list and an investment list that of all the books every single month that actually go up significantly and it was well researched, there are people who would pay for that because they want to make money and they're going to be willing to pay real money for it. And I don't need a lot of clients to do that. And I may or may not be doing it. I talk about building businesses in the next 12 months. That's something that I'm going to be doing some form of that. And that's the point, is I don't need a lot of clients if I have a high-end client. And so I think that's the whole thing. But BackerKit, from what I know, is really good. I think that, RJ does good work.
Yep, RJ. But RJ's fulfillment.
Yeah, he does fulfillment. I don't have any experience with him directly, but from what I hear and what I've seen and what people have said, and I take people on their word, I think he does a good job. I think he does, and I think his real secret sauce is international. I think he solves an international problem more so than a domestic one.
Yeah.
But again, but Facebook's now getting into this game too. That's crazy.
Well, Facebook and I are having an issue, so. Yeah.
Are you getting a divorce?
Well, I mean, no, secrets. So that's what I call it too, but that was a whole different story. No, they've been shadow banning a lot of stuff. Like as soon as I post it, it looks like it's posted, but then it gets deleted like within a minute. In fact, you're going to be surprised to hear I was unsubscribed from this guy named Pop Anime Comics. I just went to check. I went to check to share the thing, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm unsubscribed from this. So yeah, I don't know. It's special.
I mean, look, you know what it is? It's weird. Facebook has been weird lately, and there's no question about Facebook being weird. And so that's one of the things that's just going on with that. So
it's because Mark's a robot. He's an alien.
I don't know, man, because like I've had a weird situation on Facebook that's been going on. So it's kind of odd per se. I don't know what's going on in my house.
Huh?
It's so weird. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. But yeah, we got the Laughing Rogue website up. We got Yeah, probably just a little over 4 days to go on the book 2. We have the director's cut coming out. That's shipping now. Obviously, it's got the big box there.
So yeah, so before I let you go, where can people pick this thing up? Where can people go on a Kickstarter? You know, obviously people want content, people want good quality. I mean, this thing looks good. I haven't opened it up. I mean, I've opened up my Slaughterville and I looked at that, and that was great, the first one. And this thing is like a monster compared to that. This thing looks like an 8, the first box, and the second box, and the third box, and the fourth box.
Yeah, you'll be able to fit 3 and 4 into there as well. In fact, if they want to get a copy bad enough, I mean, you can get the entire set of everything Slaughterville. Okay, just go on to the book 2 campaign, all the way down in the last pledge. It's all in Slaughterville. You'll get everything, all the books, all the games that we have, everything. So it's there for you.
And so, because one of the things that people want is that, and this is how I view my eBay business. Anytime I could save somebody $20-$30 on shipping, it's always beneficial versus them having to piecemeal it, especially if they want it. And so that's what I like to do with my clients. And I think other people have a similar mentality, because for you to ship something, it's not going to be all that complicated for you to ship, you know, the entire set all at once.
Yep.
And if you can save somebody $15 in shipping, it's a no-brainer.
In fact, I have it sitting right here, ready to go out. It's just, we got a few copies in for ourselves, a few copies to send out to people, and we can package them up with a couple of comic books and Slaughterville 2 and all the expansions and promos you'll ever need.
So there you go. That's the whole thing. And then you got a bunch of other board games too, that if somebody wants something, you know. And look, I'll throw this out there, and not to put you on the spot, but I don't know if that game's ready to come out yet.
September 18th, we're going to launch it.
But the point I'm getting at is that I don't think that's included in this just yet. But the idea is that if somebody wants death metal, for instance, or god metal, is it gods of metal?
Gods of Metal, yeah.
I'm just making sure that I'm getting it right. I'm sure that if it's not on that campaign, if somebody wants it, there's a way how to figure it out for somebody to get that. Like, oh my God, I want that game. It sounds awesome. And they just, because for you to pack that game up into this is not that complicated.
No, I have honestly maybe 150 of those left, and then that's it. So if you want a copy of that, it is going to be an ultra rare kind of a thing. So those that have it, take care of it, because that's what we have.
But my point is that if somebody wants it, and
we can get it for you,
shipping, you know, it's an easy solution, because again, you know, it doesn't impact the shipping all that much, and that's the whole thing. And I'm trying to sell you board games here.
Yeah, if we're already sending out that 120 or the almost 20-pound box here, what is it, 11 point something? Throwing in Gods of Metal and Slaughterville 2 is not really going to impact shipping a lot compared to that thing. It's already going to be what it is, because the shipping rates and its box sizes and all that stuff. It's a thing.
Because that's the whole thing, is that anytime you can make an additional sale and it doesn't cost you much more to make that, that's how I view things. And maybe I come from a different era, but again, you know, that's how I run my eBay business. And I would imagine that, you know, if you could make an additional $20 sale and the shipping is only $1 more, it's such a better exchange than anything else. Especially, I don't know if you ship internationally, but if you're shipping internationally and somebody wants everything, you know, it's even better than that, because now they're getting what they want. You're getting rid of merch and you're making a big sale. And that's the whole thing that matters. And that tax sucks, but we don't have to talk about that either, because I don't know the answer to that. And I've asked that question, and I'm still confused on it, because I don't ship internationally for a good reason.
Yeah.
But I digress. Again, I'm going to give you the final word. Got a lot of stuff. I just wanted to say thank you for this. I'm looking forward to playing this. It's going to be a fun thing to play when things calm down, hopefully the next 2 weeks in my life. Don't feel like telling anybody what's going on just yet. publicly, but soon. I think things I'm gonna make an announcement, but I'm gonna see how the next week goes. But anyway, I'm gonna give you the final word. Obviously, where can people find you? Where can people support you? What do you need support on? What do you need backers on? All that fun stuff for people who are students.
Again, the big thing now would be Back the Graphic Novel Book 2. You said the link's down there. That's where we're focused right now. Again, on the 18th, we're going to be focusing on Gods of Metal while we're printing and shipping Book 2. LaughingRogue.com is always available. I'm usually with Pops hanging out doing something, or I'm on Facebook, of course. Who isn't, with Laughing Rogue on Facebook? And same thing with Laughing Rogue YouTube's Friday nights at 9, and we have Big Sexy Outdoors every Monday at 9 p.m.
So there's a lot of stuff going on with that, and then I'm just gonna quickly promote myself. So I kind of lied, giving you the last word.
It ain't easy.
But I usually do 2 to 4 interviews a week, usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 7 and 9. So YouTube, Facebook, YouTube Pop Anime Comics, Facebook Pop Anime Comics. If you're unsubscribed from my YouTube channel, or you didn't subscribe to that, or you're not, apparently got kicked off my Facebook, whatever, that's cool. Or you could just like the page, you can watch it. Watch it on YouTube, on Pop Anime Comics. And I got a pretty cool interview tonight. I'm interviewing Brooke Gilly. She fights for lingerie fighting championships, guys. It's going to be fun. A little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a little bit of clothing. And it's going to be a blast of an interview. It's going to be an eye-opening interview. I dare, a sexy interview. It's going to be a fun time, and I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised what we're going to talk about and all that fun stuff. Super stoked about that. And then next week, I think I got 2 or 3. And the week after that, I got like 3. And then the week after that, I got 2. And October's filling up. So I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if that's good or bad in the comment section, but that's what I got going on. And you can check out what I'm doing. So that's pretty much everything that's going on with me. And you never know who's coming on my show. There's a bunch of people who are going to be very, very interesting that are coming on my show in the next month or 2. And so come stop by and be pleasantly surprised on what's going on in my entire world. And on that note, obviously go back Chris's book. Go buy this entire thing. Got $120, $130, $140. Yeah. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's pretty extensive. And also, if you really like Slaughterville, you just found your storage. So there you go. On that point, and on that note, everybody, I think we're out, unless you have something to add.
That's it. We're good.
Well, everybody, go back the book, go back the board game, and go back everything else that you got. And 4 days, link is in the description up above. And there we go, everybody.